Chapter 419. This was Maniac's most powerful move, one that condensed all his aura energy, strength, and willpower. Maniac's eyes were completely bloodshot when executing this move. He became feral like an actual wild tiger on the loose. He had completely lost his mind at that point. The only thing he could think about was taking down the opponent that stood before him, regardless of whatever obstacles stood in the way. Nothing was going to come between Maniac and his opponent until the latter was dead. Wilbur merely smiled as he slowly reached out with his left hand. A thump rang through the air. Wilbur was holding Maniac's most powerful blow right in the palm of his hand. The Aura Tiger disintegrated at once as Maniac stared at Wilbur in disbelief. He struggled with all his might, but could not break out of Wilbur's grasp. Just then, Wilbur kicked Maniac right in the belly. Maniac was sent flying through the air, landing heavily on the floor. Immediately, he got back up on his feet, oblivious to the blood dribbling from his mouth as he charged at Wilbur again. His fists were flailing wildly at this point. Maniac did not have much strength left. However, he did not care about that as he continued to attack mindlessly. Wilbur chuckled. He pressed Maniac to the ground, landing a series of punches and kicks as he did so. It was not long before Maniac was blue and black all over, howling out in pain. Finally, Wilbur stopped, putting his hands in his pockets as he stared Maniac down. At last, Maniac's cries of pain faded. He got to his feet and tried once again to pounce at Wilbur despite the bruises that marred his body. However, he did not have the strength to lift his arms this time as he merely opened his mouth, trying to bite Wilbur. The crazed state he was in made Wilbur frown. Wilbur put his hands together and shouted, "Quad Thunder!" The 4 balls of thunder appeared immediately, holding Maniac down. Under the relentless assault of the thunder strikes, Maniac seemed to return to his senses a little as he stared at Wilbur in terror. "Ambience? You're peak ambience cultivator? Bit too late for you to notice, buddy," Wilbur said. Haley and the rest were still on the floor in a heap, trembling at the sight of the Quad Thunder. This man could control thunder. Was he even human? He had to be a god. The bolts of thunder struck Maniac's body over and over again. Despite the Quad Thunder's attacks not being very powerful, they were enough to put Maniac in positive agony as he howled out loud in pain. A good few minutes later, Wilbur finally said, "Do you surrender, Maniac?" Maniac was barely hanging on at that point, devoid of any of the wildness he had shown earlier. He nodded weakly. "I surrender. I surrender." Wilbur sneered, dismissing the Quad Thunder as he sat back down. Maniac curled in on himself, his chest heaving like a fish out of water. Haley and the rest stared at Wilbur in terror. None of them dared to look him in the eye. A while later, Maniac let out a loud sigh. He got to his feet, bowing to Wilbur. "You win. I'll pay you $10 million right now." "Did you actually think I came here just because I wanted $10 million? Wilbur asked. Maniac stopped short. I was looking to ask you for some help," Wilbur said.